Everyone, my name is Giovanna Salazar. I'm the social media manager for SHPE. And today we are going to be talking about mentoring with our guest, Giselle.
Hello, Giovanna.
Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely, Giovanna. My name is Giselle Martinez, and I am currently the Global Director for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Johnson Controls, Inc.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So today we're going to be talking about why it's important that the mentee drives the connection and how that happens. So to start us off, it would seem that in a mentor-mentee connection, since the mentor has the expertise that they would be the one taking on the lead in the relationship. Why do you think it's important that the mentee is the one driving these conversations, this connection?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a strong believer that a mentee and a mentor relationship has benefits for both parties, right? It should be a dual relationship. It should be an opportunity for both parties to share and to grow from the relationship. But it is not a monologue. It's not me coming in and sharing and talking about all my experiences and everything that I've been through. And it's not about me, right? It's not just about me. So it's super important for the mentee to have a vision, have a goal, have some questions for me, and really lead the conversation. Because when you usually pair yourself with a mentee, you don't know them very well. You may know a little about them, but you have to take that opportunity to know each other. And if you don't have conversations where you both are sharing and you both are speaking, then it's hard to get to know each other. And then most importantly, you're there to serve your mentee. And if you're not listening and they're not leading the conversation, asking questions, or coming to the table with questions and what needs they have, it's hard for you as a mentor to be able to provide what's the best value for them, right? So I can sit here and I can talk to you for 30 minutes, but if it's not serving you, then right from the gate, the relationship is not going to have the intended value. So it's super important that a mentee, when they initiate a relationship with a mentor, that they're prepared to lead, and they're prepared to they come prepared to each session with some goal, with some questions, and just really what is the outcome of that relationship. I think that when you choose a mentor, it's someone that you see something of value in them. So either you share the same values, you share some expertise, some same passions. That's important, right? For you to see yourself in that person or see yourself in that journey of that person. I think that's number one. So it is important that as a mentee, you find that person. And then once you have that time with that person, use valuable time. Everybody's busy, right? You find that time, you are able to make the most of that time, whether it's 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the time cadence is, make sure that it's value spent for both parties.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And based on mentees driving this connection, this can look very differently with different relationships and connections, whether it's asking questions, making goals. Based on your experiences, is there anything that you think really worked? Is it a combo of everything when it comes to the mentee driving the connection?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the mentee should initiate the first contact instead of the cadences, right? Obviously respectful of the mentor's time, work with the mentor to understand what works. But I think it's their responsibility to schedule those cadences and to keep those time commitments, right? For both parties, if you're constantly changing the times that you're meeting, you're canceling, maybe you should reevaluate and say, is this the right partnership? Is that person invested in me? Do they really have something to offer me? So I think that's important. Something that's worked, and I think about my SHPE mentee and other mentees that I've had is, again, you don't know each other before you're paired most of the time. When my mentee came to me that first session, she had Googled me. She had looked up my LinkedIn. She knew a little bit about me, right? So I would say that is a best practice. When you come to the table to a mentor, take the initiative to know a little bit about them, to show an interest again in the, like I said earlier, in the value that they bring to you. So if you come to the table and say, I know that you have a history in this field, or you worked on this project, tell me a little bit about that. That is instantly an icebreaker and instantly an opportunity for both parties to connect, because you have taken the initiative to get that, to know that person a little better. If it's someone within your network or within your place of work, right, as your early careers and you're starting to enter the professional world, if there's someone within your work environment that you admire and you want to get to know, when you have that opportunity to be in front of them, you should mention what about them resonated, what about them attracts you to them, and what do you want to learn about them. That is an instant way to start building a connection between a mentee and a mentor when you've never talked to in the past or you don't have a previous relationship. So I think that works. One thing that I love when a mentee does is they either take notes. I don't have to see them taking notes, but I know that they're thinking, because they'll ask me questions. They'll repeat something that I've said, right? That resonated. That is a great habit, right? To get into as you're building confidence and trust with your mentor, to repeat some of the nuggets of wisdom that you may have heard and say, yes, I like that. Remember when you said this, I was thinking about that. I reflected on what you said. Those things are the pieces to the mentee mentorship building blocks to create that trust and that confidence when you are engaged and when that person feels that you're truly adding value to them. I think those are very important factors in our relationship.
You listed several amazing points, and something that really stuck to me was, researching a mentor before you actually meet with them. And I feel like people sometimes think that's weird, you shouldn't do that. And not just with mentoring, but also, like interviews, networking, connections. I think it's super important. And it's also, I feel like, taking a proactive approach to when you do meet them. Now you already know what you guys have in common, what you don't have in common. You can ask about their experiences. So I think that's a super important point. So I was going to ask you another question, but I feel like you already answered it. And that question was just, what does it look like in your mind as far as action items or behaviors when the mentee is driving the connections? So you listed like taking notes, scheduling meeting times and all that. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think that one thing that usually happens when I have a mentee is I kind of give them a little bit of an assignment, nothing too difficult, but I say, whatever topic we talked about, I'd say, I'm curious for you to do X, Y, and Z, or to reflect on this. And the next time we talk, let's discuss it, right? And the next time we do talk, I'm not going to remind them. I want to see if they actually, did their assignment. And the best thing that that can happen is that the mentee comes and says, yes, I did my assignment. Here's what I learned. And then again, you can have that discussion. Again, I think those are the things that organically feed a mentee and mentor relationship. So.
Amazing. I really like that because I feel like it then gives you more purpose, more action items. Yeah. All right, going on to the next and the last question. What can a mentor do to help a mentee take the lead on the connection? If they're struggling, if the mentee is not really taking action, what can a mentor do to help out with this?
Yeah, so my role as a mentor, again, is to really understand where you want to be, right? So if you're having a hard time as a mentee voicing that, then before we get into any outcomes of where we're going, my goal is to help you find your voice, right? And to help you build that confidence. So if you're coming to me for a specific thing and you say, this is what I want, Giselle, and I notice that you're having trouble with your confidence or knowing what your brand is, then I think we start there. I start there. I said, let's start with understanding, how do you perceive yourself? How do others perceive yourself? What's your brand? What do you want to be known for? And in that, usually I give them an assignment. The assignment would be like to have people, their peers, their closest peers, give them a few words that they would describe them. and they come back to me with their words, patient, kind, loving, caring. And then I say, okay, well, is this the brand that you want to be known for? Most of the time is yes. But if there's some things that they feel like I don't want to be known for this, right? Then that is a way that I can help them. Okay, well, let's fix it. How can we fix being this, right? And again, sometimes the mentee doesn't have all the right questions or all the questions. They might be intimidated to ask what's the right question. So as a mentor, if I see that, then I take the lead in some cases and do a little bit of confidence building and sharing, right? I think that that as a mentor also we have to be vulnerable sometimes and be able to share and not always be perceived as perfect or untouchable or someone that's over there and you're over here. Not at all. I think that we as mentors also have to realize that we're here to pour into you, and sometimes us being vulnerable and us sharing and taking the lead for a little bit can help the mentee gain that confidence to then take the baton and lead. I think that answered your question, hopefully.
Yes, it did. It was really good. Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. And now I want to open up, to you, if you want to share any advice for mentor mentees, whether it's about this topic, driving the connection, or just anything else about connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about this because I believe that everyone should have a mentor in their lives, whether it's personally, career-wise, right? Everyone should have a mentor. But I think that most people have the perception that the mentor should be someone that, again, it's so far beyond them that maybe it's not reachable, not attainable, right? There's this big gap from where the mentee is and when the mentor is. Sometimes that is the case, right? But then I would ask everyone to just reflect and say, hey, can you just pick a mentor that has that one thing that you're looking for? So if you're here, maybe they're right here, but they have that one or two things that you want more of, and you pair up with them and you elevate yourself from here to where they're at. And then once you're there and you've kind of outgrown that mentor, then you look for the next one. Who's that next person? So I think we should think about mentorship as probably different steps and levels, and not just I'm going to have one mentor and that mentor is going to make me a rock star. It's going to be all I need to be successful, and that's it. That's not the case. The reality is that in your life, you're going to have a lot of mentors. You're going to have, and you should have a lot of mentors. You should have a diversity of mentors from all different backgrounds and perspectives, so that it will help you become a well-rounded person and you can learn from their journeys. So I think that we should look at mentorship like that. How do we take one step at a time to elevate each other up, and not necessarily kind of aspire to take like 10 jumps, when we can take 1 or 2 jumps and really benefit from it. So that advice I'll give everyone who's listening. And I think one other thing that I want to share, Giovanna, with you is that not all mentee and mentor relationships are meant to be. And that happens a lot. That's happened to me. Sometimes you're paired up or you choose someone who is not the right fit for you. So my advice is, just because someone has a title or a certain status, and you want and you feel like that's the person that's going to help you, and if you've met them once, twice, the third time, and you just don't feel that connection, my advice is for you to stop and reflect and really have an honest conversation with yourself and that mentor. And sometimes you have to break that connection. Do not drag on a mentorship or a relationship that you're not getting value out of, because you're wasting your time, you're wasting that person's time. And at the end of the day, it's about how you're going to grow. So I think that sometimes we try to force relationships and mentorships that may not be a fit. So I think that I advise everyone that you recognize that early on if it's not a fit, and adjust and pivot. I think both parties appreciate the truthfulness and the authenticity, and then find that person that really is there and invested in you. So I give you that advice also.
That's really good advice. And I don't think it's talked about enough. And I think sometimes people don't know that it's okay, it's fine, to break that connection. And I'm sure some mentors or even mentees might be scared to break that connection. So I guess I have one more question. What do you do in that situation? Like, how do you tell someone you don't want to move forward with a connection?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to be honest. You don't ghost them, with that terminology that people are using now. Don't just ignore them, right? I think if you are the mentor to the mentee, I think you say, so and so. I feel that I'm not providing the value that you deserve at this stage in your career, in your life. There's an opportunity for you to get advice from someone else. I think that you should. I think you should be truthful. If you know someone that'd be better fit, I would recommend, right? That person, I say, maybe you should talk to such and such. I think they're in a place where they can share more value with you. So as a mentor, you can say that. And as a mentee, I think you have the absolute empowerment. You should be able to say to your mentor, thank you for your time. I really appreciate the wisdom and the journey that you shared with me. I think that I've received what I need from you. And then now I'm going to, move on. And I don't think any of the parties will be offended. I think that at this point, if both parties are feeling that it doesn't fit, so I think both parties will appreciate it.